Good evening, everyone, and welcome to GrayManPrepping. It's time for Tactical Tuesday, where we talk about tactics, gear, and more. And tonight's going to be probably a little bit of each because tonight's topic is Faraday cages. And how's everybody doing out there? Let's get over here because I see more people just rolling in all the time. Um, and Welcome everybody in. So first in was Walt Rogers, followed by Phelan Klein Wolf, then Moon Over Miami. Then it's the Marshmallow Man, who has been a member for 9 months. Then Chef Tech, Kalen's Train, Geeky Gardens, Mother's Garden Club. All right. Phelan, remind everybody, hit the thumbs up and share this out. And he's been a member for 22 months of the Survivalist level. And Kaylin has been a member for 22 months of the prepper level. Aideneer's here. Suzanne Galley, Diana 2. And Suzanne Gallay's been a member for 22 months of the Survivalist level. Holly Ivans is here. Moon Over Miami has been a member of the GrayMan level for 3 months. And yeah, okay, just double checking things here. And Endo says it's 21 degrees, but it feels like 15. All right, so a couple months back, seems like a couple months. Yeah, it's been maybe, about a couple months. It came up in another live stream about Faraday cages and what are they, how do they work, can you make your own and stuff. And so tonight I'm going to try to answer that for you guys. All right. So some of the stuff may sound a little technical. If you have questions, put questions in capital block letters. Okay. All righty. So let's get that froze. So let's get on to this here. Okay. So Faraday cages come in a lot of different sizes. And this is one from a scientific test that they had their cell phones with them. And they were seeing whether or not a Faraday cage made of this size with these, this size hole pattern stuff would block cell phone signals. And it did. But one of the things people don't realize about Faraday cages, they come in all sorts of shapes, sizes for different functions. Now, Faraday cages work to stop electromagnetic fields, electromagnetic pulses, electromagnetic waves. And so how they're designed is for whatever type of frequency you want to block. And a lot of people don't understand that. And so like this one here is designed for the frequency of 60 hertz. And and what and basically for stopping arcing and protecting people and other equipment. This is at like an electric substation. Mark, I'll get to that in a minute. Now you notice this one here has a different type construction to it, and it's got smaller holes in it, and it's to affect a different frequency of electromagnetic waves. Now, I've seen several people doing this, where they take a metal trash can and they put a plastic liner in it. Has anybody messed with plastic? And you go to open a plastic. What happens when you start moving plastic? You get static electricity. Plastic, thin plastic, does not stop electricity. And Sumi is here. So we're going to talk a little bit about some homemade ones here, but putting a plastic liner in a trash can is not going to work for the majority of the reasons why you'd be creating this type of a can, which is an EMP, an electromagnetic pulse, because the surface area of plastic is inducive to electricity traveling across it. So all right, so I've got a bunch of questions here. Okay, so let's go back to the first one. Shipping container as a Faraday cage, yes and no. Depends on the frequency you're trying to block. For an electromagnetic pulse such as the Carrington event, which will wipe out just about all electronics, probably not, because of the seal on it. But for some things it'll work, for other frequencies it won't. Most cargo containers are not solid steel. They have a wooden floor. They have gaps for the electrical waves and stuff to bounce along the outside, go around, come up through the gap between the boards and the steel, and do everything inside. So no, it's not going to work. It would take a lot of work to turn a shipping container into a fully functional Faraday cage to stop an electromagnetic pulse. Okay. Aluminum garbage can with foil. I got some pictures coming up of that, and I'll explain the good, bad, and ugly there. A liner, froze, depends on the liner that you use. Like I said, a plastic trash can liner is not going to work. Cardboard liners work better than that. And yes, a rubber liner works better. If you get a some of that spray stuff for Flex Seal is rubberized. There's some other spray dip is rubberized, and you spray it, you put several coats on there, that'll work. Wood will not stop an electromagnetic wave. Okay, you need steel or copper to stop an electromagnetic wave. So so yeah, a rubber lining inside of a wooden box not necessarily would not work, because the wooden box won't stop the electromagnetic wave. Let me get to the next picture here. All right, so here's someone has a small trash can, metal trash can, and they're putting their stuff in here. Well, they're being kind of redundant here, because they got the trash can, they got an Army duffel bag, and inside the duffel bag, they have a Faraday bag, a bag designed to stop electromagnetic pulses. And they got their radios and stuff inside of that. The only thing the metal can is doing in this instant is providing maybe a little bit extra protection, That's but mainly it's providing protection from something poking a hole through the duffel bag and the bag inside. Ryan the Gamer's in the house. Tibor's here. So the Faraday bags are a great option if you get a quality one. And let's see here. Excellent here. Come on. There we go. Now here's one where they took, I've seen a lot of people talk about doing this. They use that aluminum flex tape people use for sealing up air conditioning ducts and stuff. Problem is making sure you get it absolutely airtight. If it's not airtight, if there's a fold in it, that means that the electromagnetic charge can go up that gap and affect stuff inside, which is why you want to coat the inside with a rubberized substance or put a Faraday bag inside of it, something that'll stop it. Anyone that does any work on computers, remember that you get a sound card or a video card that came in a static-free bag. Those static-free bags protect the electronics from an electric field, static charge and discharges like that. The EMP bags are like those little bags on steroids. Now, depending on the type of EMP and the strength of the EMP, whether it's man-made or sun-made, this may or may not work if you have the inside protected. Now, some people talk, oh, ammo cans. Well, ammo cans can be an effective one if you do certain things to them. The waterproof rubber gasket going around it. Now, most of these rubberproof gaskets, in one corner where the gasket comes together, there's a gap. And that gap makes these useless unless you fill that gap with some rubber silicone to seal it. One of the things I found that works good as well is to go ahead and spray the inside of the can with Flex Seal or dip spray to give it a rubber coating. Some people also like to put after they spray it, they'll put a piece of wood in the bottom and spray it again, so whatever you put in there doesn't scratch the bottom and break through. Yes, and that's very expensive to do. Well outside the budget of anybody listening to my channel. Now, Faraday cloth. A lot of people call what's called hardware cloth. It's a little metal wire, like almost like screen, a little bit bigger. As Faraday cloth, it depends on the frequency of the electromagnetic field, whether or not that's going to work. A solid metal container works on all frequencies, whereas the other ones, the screens and stuff work on certain frequencies. Let's see, next one here. This is one of the better ones here. Tech Protect. The company actually tests it using microwaves, and they'll take a bag, put a radio in it, cell phone, put it in a microwave, and turn it on for 5 minutes. When it's done, take it out, take the cell phone out, it works again. It's protected it. The radio will work. Stuffing foil in will not work because it'll leave gaps. Any air gap at all provides a path for current to go around. It's weird. It's the way it works. Let's see. My first cage was a wood frame with copper window screen. Yes, that works on a lot of things. And the material you use, copper versus steel, copper works much better. Silver, really expensive, works even better. Let's see. Okay, that takes care of that. And let me drop that down there. You can Google homemade Faraday cages, and you're going to get a whole bunch of ideas. A lot of the guys doing that have no electrical background and are just trying to think outside the box and are putting out bad information. Yeah, microwaves make Faraday boxes for certain frequency. However, because the inner metal is screwed to the outer metal, if the door rubber doesn't provide a solid protection of it, and plus it has holes inside of it, like I said, certain frequencies it'll work for, other frequencies it won't work for. So, and of course, if you, depending on whose report you read, microwaves leak like bad for those standing around. That's why you should never stand around a microwave when it's in use. Okay. Exactly. And I worry about that too. However, so if it's a sun generated, a CME generated EMP, we usually know a day or two ahead of time that, we got a massive coronal mass ejection heading towards Earth. So you have some hours to get your stuff done and get it packed, get all your stuff updated, get it packed away, and you're good on that. All right. I didn't know if I said hello to Little Lone Prepper. Hello. Because I have some tech protect bags that I keep some Kindles in, and I keep extra thumb drives, and I got a couple 2 terabyte portable hard drives put in there of data and stuff on them. And yeah, I will open it up, take one out, seal it up, update it, put it in, and I'll update stuff that way. And I'll open up take out the Kindle, and I'll update all my downloads to it of technical manuals and books and stuff. So I have that information for it. I am finding though with my Kindle, and I froze, that I can take PDFs and just load PDFs into a Kindle. So I load up all my my external hard drives with the PDFs and stuff, and then I can load it in. One of my next purchases is going to be another laptop that I'll put into a bag and use that to access everything else as well. So yeah, they're different depending on how bad you think it's going to be, what you really need to protect from. And that's the thing is, yes, we have electromagnetic pulses hitting the Earth at least once a month because CMEs are hitting, but they're generally so weak. What you usually see is just the aurora borealis or northern lights being seen farther south than normal. It's really, and occasionally it affects the satellites, and you'll get certain platforms like YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram having problems because they're satellite connected and their earthbound networks are satellite connected, and they get problems that way as well. Yeah, unfortunately, the more crap they stuff into cars, the more they become susceptible to a varying amount of EMP problems. Older cars, I'm talking pre-1965 cars, you got the voltage regulator block, you have the starter solenoid, you have the alternator, and the starter are the weak points on it for cars. Newer cars, oh yeah, all the electronics and stuff that they have in it, like just like your cell phone, man, it can fry just like that. One of the things that several people I know, they have big 4D and 8D batteries, lead acid batteries, dry, and they got the electrolyte stored so that afterwards they just after we had big CME, we had electromagnetic pulse going on. Well, we're going to wait a couple days for it to finally discharge out of the atmosphere. Then we'll fill the batteries up and we'll have power to do stuff. And so, but it also depends on the power of the EMP, whether or not you're going to get electrical arcing across it. The Carrington effect, because of the miles of telegraph wire, it was generating an electrical current that was burning up some of the batteries on the telegraphs. It was charging systems, so they disconnected the batteries and they were still able to send Morse code messages on the telegraph. So if we get another Carrington effect, you can kiss the internet goodbye. You can kiss most of the power grid goodbye. You can kiss most cars goodbye, because all the wiring in a car will create a current. And I'm going to get a little pick on a company right now. There's a company out there that says, oh, put this in your car between your battery and your electrical system, and it will protect your car. Bullshit. That company is on the not recommended list for Homeland Security's document on it, because we considered them a scam company. They claim, oh, we got federal contracts. And when I tried asking them, what's your contract number? Oh, we can't give it out. I tell them, wrong. You're required by federal law to give out your contract number to federal agents. And I'm an agent of Homeland Security. They hung up on me. So what happens is they have it isolating the battery from the rest of the car, isolating, loose term. And what happens is, though, it's not the battery that's going to be generating the electromagnetic charge. It's all the wiring in the car, and as it's generating, it's frying your all your computer components, everything else in the car, and this EMP shield is doing nothing. And they also have it hooked up for the power for your house. Well, it's hooked up to a breaker, but the surge will come in through the power lines down the center probes on the that all your breakers are connected to, and go out all the breakers, fry everything plugged in, and then it'll fry the EMP shield. Okay, enough of that one. Enough of that rant. Randy's here. Hello, Randy. Now, the EMPs, other ones people talking about, oh, well, what about a nuclear a nuclear bomb. Yeah. If it's a ground level one, the EMP is going to be less than it is if it's a high atmospheric detonation. Well, what about the EMP rays they have? Yes, the government has some devices that they can fly over and they can shoot an EMP ray down at a building. I did one of my lives, I did a thing on it and I had to take it off because some radio company said, oh, we got the copyright to this news video. And a lot of people, and I know the channel that broadcasted was at the time was suing the radio company for false copyright claim. And anyway, so I just marked mine limited, so it's not out there, so nobody's watching it. But they had the cameras inside this building in Faraday cages. Okay, this is important to listen how this works. So they had the cameras in Faraday cages. They had shunts for the video feeds for some of the cameras to protect the camera from the surge coming through the cable back into the camera. Some of them they didn't. They had it was showing an office room, all of the computer terminals and stuff, and the fluorescent lights on and everything else. And when the beam passed over the building, the lights flickered and went out first. Then the computer monitors started going, and they all died. And then the cameras died. And the problem was the frequency of the EMP ray, the Faraday cages around the cameras weren't set to that frequency. So it just bypassed it and killed it. So yes, when you're talking Faraday cages, Faraday bags, and stuff like that, making a little hardware cloth or screen Faraday cage is good for certain frequencies, but not all frequencies. And the Faraday bags are good for all frequencies. A good, properly sealed metal container that has insulation on the inside to protect the items inside from that might accidentally touch the metal container, keep them from touching it, is good so long as it's totally sealed. Hey, Glenn, how's it going? So need to wet my vocal cords. And so there are a number of things to do it that's going to affect. Not necessarily. AC is going to fail fairly quickly. It's going to totally screw up AC. It depends on the length of wiring that the DC unit is using, whether or not it's going to fail. If you have a DC powered fan where you got four number D batteries in there to run it, there's not much that wire that may cause it to fail, unless it's a super, super strong EMP where it's going to fry absolutely everything out that's exposed. That's why I say older cars are more naturally EMP proof. Older radios that had radio tubes and not transistors are more EMP resistant. So, oh, you mean your power station? Yeah, that works. That works. That'll help too. But if you have wires coming through pros, if you have wires from the solar panels coming in through the cage into the power station, it's just going to come right through that cable. So you got to have your cables that are disconnected and stuff. Same thing with ham radio antennas and stuff like that. If you hear there's an CME coming towards Earth, you're going to want to disconnect all your ham radio equipment from the antenna wires and everything else, and isolate pieces as much as possible. That way you don't have long pieces of wire that are going to be building up a charge to do it. During the Carrington effect, there was reports of people seeing ball lightning going along the telegraph wires, ball lightning going along the barbed wire, because barbed wire was stretched for miles and was creating a nice current. And so there's ball lightning going there. There's ball lightning going down railroad tracks. So long strands of metal can create electromagnetic fields and conduct electricity. Yeah, you get enough power going through it on DC or AC. Soldering points become a failure point. No, because the X-ray aprons are just pieces of lead, like a bulletproof vest, encased in it. And if you just try sewing them together, where it's sewn together, there's no lead, and the lead's not really going to stop the electromagnetic field that way. Especially the cost of picking up a X-ray shield aprons is not cheap. Not going to do any good because it's going to travel through the wire inside. All right. Let's see here. Let me bring something else up here. Come on here. All right, there are all sorts of Faraday bags you can do. You know, companies coming up, doing stuff, putting out things and everything else. The ones that I know that are tested the most, there are two of them. I'm going to go to the images. See if I can find the ones here that I know I've seen some of the reports on. Now, some of these others may have testing on them, but I haven't seen reports for them. Here's one. Is this one here? Has been tested good. See if I can find the other one here. All right, it's not bringing it up that way. I'm going to do it this way here. Hang on here. And that's this one here, you know, Tech Protect. They got a lot of different sizes, and this is what I have and I use. The bags are sort of like a super heavy duty Mylar type layered construction. They really don't like talking how they do it because they're trying to limit who else is going to jump in the field and start making them. So yeah, so that's, you know, they're it's a type of a bag, and the some companies developed it under contract for the military, and then they started selling it to regular people and stuff like that. Bought a big aluminum garbage can, lined it with aluminum. That's not going to work. That's going to be, and if it's buried, when you bury these things in the ground, believe it or not, that increases the electrical. Yeah, if you're going to be doing like a trash can, put it on a piece of wood in the garage. Make sure the inside is lined with non-conductive materials such as Flex Shield, dip spray, rubber spray to do it. One of the things that does work, I've seen people take this polyurethane foam insulation and they spray a little on the bottom. They put several layers of cardboard on the bottom. They spray it around the side and they line the outside, then sticking cardboard to it to keep it from conducting to the metal itself. You need to keep whatever's inside of it from touching anything metal. Because just in case you don't seal it right and the current on the outside finds a path through to go over the surface of the inside. All right, yeah, you can get the heavy duty pond liner rubber stuff. That works good too because that is rubber, not plastic. Thin plastic conducts electricity, believe it or not. I mean, look at a rubber, a thin rubber balloon. You rub it on your hair, and what do you got? You got electricity going all over it. And when you try to open up the bags, the plastic bags in the meat section or the vegetable section, you open it up and you try to do it, and you can feel the electricity as you open it up and shake it out, try to do it, and it still tries to back the other because it's got electricity going all over it, electrons. All right, Jay. As big as a little bit bigger than the item you want to put in it. If you are doing something for a like you want to put some cell phones in something or a small tablet, like an 8x8 EMP bag will work. You want to go something a little bit bigger. This is a 16 by 18 for a laptop. Some of the companies make some really big bags. That's a 16 by 18. But yeah, you can hunt around. You can find some bags upwards of 24 by 36 inches. Yeah, the EMP will happen in a blink of an eye, but it depends what's causing it. If it's a CME and it comes from the solar flare and the CME it has ejected the coronal mass stuff and it's coming at Earth, you got a day or two before it hits Earth. Once it hits Earth, bam, it starts. It starts. How long it lasts depends on how much material from the ejection is interacting with the magnetosphere, and it can last 1, 2, 3 days. I believe the Carrington effect was recorded at like 48 hours. So it wasn't just boom, it hit. Oh wow, everything's fried. It's gone. Now I could open my Faraday bag. No, you want to wait a bit longer before you start opening up important electronics. And so I'm just catching up on some stuff here. NOAA and NASA on their satellite images for their emerald spirals and stuff like that, they show that stuff fairly, it may take them a couple hours to update the emerald spiral to show the path of the CME coming to it, and they'll tell how big it's going to happen. But yeah, there are several channels out there, most notably Suspicious Observers, who gives an update every morning on everything's happened in the last 24 hours, showing the all the different views of the sun, showing the flashes and stuff going on. And thing is, so it's not just sunspots that are going to can cause a CME. Uh, the ribbons. Kaylin, help me out here. The ribbons, which they're watching right now, because most of the sunspots are weak right now, and so it's the I forget what the ribbons are called. Because sometimes those ribbons will break loose and just throw stuff, and they get more heads up from a sunspot starting to act up than they do from a ribbon just suddenly going pop. There's the proper term. Plasma filaments. Yes. Thank you, Kaylin. But yeah, the most of the satellite images of the sun are broadcast 24/7. If you go like the Suspicious Observers, he down in his description he lists the links to the different spiral emeralds things, and the satellite views of the different ones of the Earth, and how to change the settings and stuff on it. And those are up 24/7. So you can go in there anytime and see what's going on right now on the sun. But like Tibor said, yeah, EMP caused by man can be over flash, but the EMP caused by men is nothing compared to the a CME hitting the Earth. That's a significant CME, like the Carrington event. Nothing man has created has come close to equaling what the Carrington event did. Yeah, that might be a good suggestion too, especially if the satellite's down for maintenance, or we got to reboot it. It's and multiple ones are going down at the same time. Yeah, but when it comes to making the cages and stuff, probably one of my favorite designs is a Rubbermaid rubber trash can inside a 55-gallon barrel with a removable top with the rubber silicone gasket on top and the clamp that seals absolutely airtight. You open that up, you put the Rubbermaid can in there that fits down in there. You put your stuff inside the Rubbermaid can. You put the lid on the Rubbermaid can just for extra protection. You seal that airtight metal lid with a ring on the 55-gallon barrel, and that is a heck of a Faraday cage. And so, what are you looking at there? Sometimes you can pick up those metal cans for under $50 used, depending what chemicals they had in it. $49 for a 40-gallon Rubbermaid trash can to go inside, and you can put a lot of stuff in there. Now, going back to what Mark asked about cargo containers, you want to make a cargo container EMP proof. There are two types of cargo containers. There is your standard forget the thing for it. The one that has the wooden floors, the one that 99.9% of the ones you see on the road are. Then there are the military ones, which are watertight. They have a solid steel floor on it. One of the things you do, you go in there and you spray it with rubber stuff all over it. the vents for it. You seal up the vents and you spray over that. You make sure that the rubber gasket on the door is good and will seal. You spray the inside of the doors as well. And then you have a fairly decent big Faraday cage there. Or you just get a big cargo container, put a couple of grounding rods on it, and you put the 55-gallon barrels on wood in there with the Rubbermaid trash can inside, and you seal those up like that. That way you have layer on layer on layer to diffuse the energy. Yeah, Connex is the one, but the military one has a different name to it, I believe. Or maybe Connex is the military name, and the other one's just cargo containers. Yeah. Deep water diffuses the effect of a lot of things, but still you're going to need to have it in a, you're going to want it, whatever you're putting down in deep water needs to be watertight, which in a mug itself, then it makes it a airtight container to stop the EMP too. But having stuff deep down in water will stop certain gamma rays, proton rays, a bunch of different things that, different particles and stuff that go down in that affect people more than electronics. Yeah. If you can get a old diesel-powered World War II diesel submarine, yeah, it will work. But if you got that much money, there's so much more fun stuff you can do on land and building yourself an underground shelter that is EMP proof as well. You might spray some of the foam around it to keep the inner can from bouncing around if you need to move the big the barrel, but it's not going to improve insulation. Taping the plastic lid on if you have the right type of stuff. The way the lids are, you're gonna have to do some cutting and trimming on it to be able to tape it down good. But yeah, you can get Calpico tape is a rubber insulating tape for water lines to keep electrolysis from affecting ductile iron water lines. And you put that stuff on there, yeah, I guarantee you, it stretch it on, put it on there. Yeah, it's going to seal, but it's going to be a pain in the butt to take it off to change stuff out. Yes, the one in Chicago is the last surviving one of the I forget the series. The Fat Electrician did a whole series on it about U.S. Steel's German submarine, and it's interesting on that boat, that German U-boat. Yeah. Yeah, spray the inside of those. Yeah, it should be good. Of course, that you can also just run rubber electrical tape, rubber, not vinyl, rubber electrical tape, and that'll seal it also really good too. All right, we're hitting the end here. I hope everybody got some good information about alternatives and stuff. Probably your best, cheapest alternative, the Faraday bags for small stuff like handheld radios, and you can get small bags and just put individual things in and put it in a bigger bag. Laptops and other things like that, generators and stuff like that. It's going to be a whole nother story. You're going to need to build something that's or find some come on, a knack box. Some of the knack boxes, you can seal those up and turn a knack job site toolbox into a Faraday cage for a generator and solar power station, stuff like that. All right, so coming up here, Thursday is the midnight ride here on GrayManPrepping. Friday night on Kent Patton's Friday night on the homestead is knitting and quilting for warmth. Guys, don't thumb your nose at it. Some of my older cousins, male cousins, still crochet that after our grandmother taught them how to do it. And my one cousin says, hey, if I want to kick back, it's something I can do watching football. And I can just crochet or knit or something, make cute stuff for the grandkids. Saturday is have a side hustle to help support your family, whether it's making candles and selling them at a peddler's fair or farmer's market, growing, planting a bunch of extra fruit trees and selling the fruit at the farmer's market, or selling fruit to your neighbors by the pound. Other ways of making money, learning how to do plumbing and doing plumbing on the side on the weekends, or electrical work to make sure you're doing things by code though. Learning the code, learning how to do it properly, side jobs. My brother and I for years used to do concrete work on the side, doing driveways and walkways for people. Made a lot of money on the side doing that. Yeah. Let's see. Monday, we're going to talk about containers for storing your food other than canning, and containers that you can use to reheat your food in safely. So that's on Monday on Camp Patton Family Compound. Next Tuesday's one is a suggestion by one of the viewers here. Sent me an email on it, including some YouTube videos put out by someone, what happened when they were doing it. And the title is, Are Notebooks a Threat? And the guy was walking around with a notebook, taking notes of things and stuff, and actually got approached by security officers and stuff. What are you doing? What are you doing with a notebook? I am writing. But yeah, so we're going to talk about are notebooks a threat and why you should have a notebook. And I'm not talking the computerized one. I'm talking the one you actually write in with pencil or pen. Yeah. Well, along with the knitting, the quilting, my wife does a lot of quilting, and she does a lot of the stuff on the sewing machine first, lines it up, and then she sews, pins it and sews the big ones, and then she does it, and then she does the quilting part with the yarn in the middle to hold everything in place. All right, folks, that's it for tonight. Hopefully I'll see you on Thursday night. Remember, stay happy no matter what life throws at you. Stay safe. Don't go out and do anything foolish. Keep adding to your preps. Water, food, medicine, clothing. Learn a new skill. And do an indoor garden. We got the indoor garden starting on January 1st. And it's going to go all year for 2025. All right? Take care, and I'll see you around.